Hello my lovelies! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Rebecca. I post a lot of bookish content everywhere on Instagram, TikTok. I have my own blog and I have been posting on this YouTube channel for about a month now, which is very exciting. For today's video, we're going to do a little what I read in April, since this will be posted at the beginning of May, but today is the last day of April. So I have my little iPad here so I can talk through all my stats for this month, and then I have my books over in the corner so I can show you what I read. Because funnily enough, I've actually read a lot of physical books this month, and a lot of physical books that I actually own, which is very out of character for me. Normally I'm getting books from everywhere. I'm at the library, I'm on Kindle Unlimited, I'm borrowing them from somewhere. It's very unusual that I actually have all of what I read in physical copies that are still here. Normally they've gone back to the library, they've been returned to wherever they have came from. So I get to talk about all my books physically, which is very exciting for me. I was looking at my stats on Storygraph, and in total this month I have read 8 books, which is actually the most? Let's have a look. I think it might actually be the most I've read this month, in a month this year. No, I tell a fib. See, that's why I love Storygraph, because I can actually see how many books I've read, how many pages I've read for every month and compare them, which is just, as a girl who loves lists and statistics and all that fun stuff, it's very interesting to me. April is now my second best month. In March, I managed to read 10 books altogether, so April was a really close second there. But I did read more pages this month. So in March, I read 2,700 pages, and in April, drumroll, I managed to read 3,126 pages, which is actually quite good. I'll give myself a pat on the back for that wee one. I think I read quite chunky-ish books this month. I wasn't reading short stories, which I think I started the year out reading a lot of. I read a lot of very quick, less than 100 pages books. So the tide has been turning and I've been leaning more into my chunky ones. What I'll maybe do is I'll post all my Storygraph stats for this month to my TikTok and my Instagram if anyone's nosy to see them, because I'm always nosy to see them. I'm one of those people that when people post that, I'm like, what did you read? How many pages did you read? When did you hit a slump this month? I'm too nosy. I'm too nosy for my own good. So I started off this month by reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and I finished that on the 4th of April. So I was reading this because Wild Love came out and I wanted to reread the whole series before I read the new one, because I'm one of those people. Now this is my second time reading Wild Love. I only got into Elsie Silver last summer when I did a trip down to Manchester. I took the bus from here to there, so I had 4 hours each way where I was just reading. I decided to borrow the Chestnut Springs series to read while I was travelling about, and I thought I'd only read 1 or 2 books, and I actually read the whole series in that one weekend, I'm sure, because I was just engrossed and I had a lot of, we didn't have that many things planned. It was a very chill weekend, so there was a lot of just sitting reading in a coffee shop, or there was one point where my boyfriend disappeared for an hour and I sat in Waterstones and read. So that was when I got hooked on Elsie Silver. I got this series because, if you look at this cover, you know it fits my aesthetic, so I had to get Wild Love, and I absolutely loved it. This was my second time reading it, and again I just really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed this one. Elsie Silver has become one of my favourites. It's such a cozy, sweet read. I love the characters. I like that they're older. I read a lot of fantasy where the characters are 16, 17. I like that these characters are older and more mature, and that kind of comes off in the vibes. It's still very dramatic and silly and not very serious, but I like the kind of more mature vibes. I feel like I'm leaning more towards that at the minute, especially, well, maybe not this month, but more recently I've been leaning more towards kind of more mature adult vibes, not in the content, but just the way the characters interact with each other. They're not children who are utterly obsessed and every waking moment is spent thinking about the person they're in love with I like that there's adult problems going on and there's actually like real world scenarios that anyone can kind of relate to, rather than it just being, I met a boy and he has done my whole entire world. Like, these people actually have lives outside of their relationships, and it's quite interesting. I just really like it, and again, Elsie Silver is becoming one of my favourites. I would definitely give this one 5 stars because it is one of my favourites and I plan on rereading it so much. I really enjoyed reading it this month as well because the weather's been a bit nicer, so I got to read it in the park in the sun and I just felt like I was there in the book. It was very, very nice. So the next book I finished was Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. Now, I always have a self-help book on the go where I will read 10 pages a day and go through and highlight and tab and really try to absorb what's been written, to try and like analyze it more and take my time with it to digest it rather than rushing through it like I would like say a romance or a fantasy or something like that, something that I'm reading just for fun. I do try to slowly take these in and take only in a little bit at a time and try to think, how can I apply this to my real life? How does this apply to me? How does this apply to the world around me? So I actually didn't even start this month. I didn't even start this last month, so this really throws off my average reading time when I do this, but it's fine because I feel like it's the best way to read a self-help book, especially when my mind is really chaotic. The best way to read it is just do it in little chunks, take it bit by bit. Ideally I would do like a chapter at a time because it would make the most sense, but if I do 10 pages it's not overwhelming, there's not a lot of pressure on myself, it's very easy, and then I can really just sit with some of the things that are being mentioned. So I did actually start this one. Supposedly I started this back in August and it's taken me this long to get through it, but as you can see it's all tabbed. I have all these little highlights and things in it, and I love this. This is one of my favourite self-help books. I've read it a couple times now. I've recommended it to people. I've talked about it in different courses and things that I've done where we kind of talk more about psychology and things. It's a very good topic of conversation, and I don't want to go into like a full deep review. I'm trying to keep this spoiler free as possible, but I don't know if you can really spoil this. I think the growth mindset is something that I'm trying to implement now, especially with starting my YouTube, where I'm like, I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to put this pressure on myself to be perfect and have everything cookie cutter sorted. I am trialing error and I'm learning and I'm growing. The growth mindset is something I'm really, really working on this year, so I'm really glad that I read that book. And if you are someone who wants to start maybe improving yourself, if you're a student, you really want to read Mindset because it is so good. It talks about the best way to learn things that you're actually going to learn from it and not just memorize things. So that's what I like about it. I find it really, really interesting. I could really do a whole video on the growth mindset, but to keep it short and sweet, I loved it. This of course gets a 5-star. It's one of my favourite self-help books and I would recommend it to anyone. Next up, on the 9th of April, I finished Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. And again, I loved it. I think in terms of ranking, it might be Wild Side, Wild Eyes, and then Wild Love for me. See, I really love Skylar Stone's story of falling in love with kind of creating again. I like that she found that, and I like that she found that on her own. There was no one really holding her hand for it. Everyone was just kind of like, when you're ready, it is your time. You can do this, you can figure this out. We will just be here. You're fully in control. And I really, really like that. I like that as like a kind of side plot apart from just the love story. I like that she kind of found her own footing and wasn't completely and utterly boy obsessed. Like, I think Elsie Silver is really good at writing friendships as well. I think she's really good at writing friendships, like female friendships, and portraying kind of healthy friendships. Not even just female friendships. I think the boys have quite good relationships and communication with each other without it being all boy obsessed. I just wish they would talk less about boys, like the girls. I wish they would, because I feel like every kind of conversation, maybe there's like one where they don't obsess over the boys and they talk about something else, but I don't know, I still really like it. It's still a really fun and fluffy romance, and again, I love the way Elsie portrays Styler. I love the way Elsie Silver portrays Skylar Stone and her whole story about like falling back in love with her passion and something that maybe other people would have just walked away from at that point, considering what she'd been through. Other people might have just walked away, but she walked away in her own way. Like, she kept it, like her talent was still hers, but without spoiling too much, she took her own direction with it, and I just love that. I love that bit. So this is another 5-star read for me. And then we have Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I just want to take a moment to appreciate my lovely little bookmark from book club. I just thought it was so cute. It says Wild Side on the other side. I just thought that was cute, and it needed its own wee moment. It's my first time reading it. I started it for book club and then I didn't finish it in time, took a break, came back to it, and I finished it on the 12th of April this month. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how hardworking that both the characters were. Like, their work was over everything, and I like the fact that they prioritized other things other than a relationship, and the relationship just kind of came naturally. It wasn't forced. I mean, it was a wee bit because it was like a kind of fake marriage, but it felt like they were always already going in that direction for me. They were already kind of like leaning to it. It just seemed, they're very practical people, so it seemed very practical that they would get married to make them both most out of the situation. What I didn't like maybe was that the kid just kind of vanished into thin air. Someone else pointed it out to me before I read it, and I was like, no. And then as I was going through the book, I just couldn't unsee it. I couldn't, like, I couldn't miss it. I was like, where is he? Like, where? It's not like anything's happened to him. He's still there, but like, he's not there. So that really kind of bugged me. But also it was a valid point, so I'm not even mad that the person said it. It was just annoying. But I really enjoyed it. It has actually got me really curious about wrestling now. I love when authors do that to me. They get me obsessed with some sport that I had no interest in, but my boyfriend is a big fan of wrestling, so I already knew of who Rise was supposed to be kind of based after before I read the book. And then the whole way through the book, that is what I've had in my head the whole way through this book. That was who the main character was. I have a clearer picture of Rise than I do of anyone else in this series, like at all. But that was a very nice touch to kind of connect it to something in the real world for me. I just thought it was really cute. So this was another 5-star read. I feel like this whole month was full of like 5-star reads. Like, I don't actually think I've read a book this month that I didn't. Oh, I did. I'll get to that in a minute. Next up, I read Light Lark by Alex Erster. I read this on the way to the Waterstones book event, which I've blogged about, so you can see that here on my YouTube channel. I finished this about 20 minutes before the event. It was my first time reading it, but I kind of just knew I was going to enjoy it. I had a gut feeling that I was going to enjoy it. I was scared because there was so much hype around the book, like a couple of years ago when it first came out, where everyone was like, it's amazing, and then you seen that die down and more people were coming out saying, actually it wasn't that great. But I really enjoy these kind of books. I really kind of enjoy fantasy. I've always enjoyed fantasy and like mythical beings and magic and all that kind of fun stuff, so I really kind of had high hopes, and it did meet my expectations. I definitely kind of like, I ended this book being like, I'm 90% in love with this, so I was really happy to go get them all signed after finishing it. Like, it was quite a high to finish it for the first time and then like an hour later have it signed by the author. Like, that was quite a feeling. Would I do that again where I'm not read the book but sign up for the event? Probably not, because that was a risky game I was playing. Imagine I finished this and walked in there hating the book. That would have been like a really bad time. But I'm really glad I went, and I'm really glad that this was like another 5-star read. Like, I definitely really enjoyed it. So obviously after I finished that on the 15th, on the 19th, I finished Nightbane. Now, I was reading Nightbane and Skyshade while WrestleMania was on, so my wee brain was mind blown. That was a very weird weekend for me. I was pretty much reading all day and then staying up all night. I've still not recovered. Still not recovered from the mess that was WrestleMania, and I haven't recovered from this book either. I think this book is my kind of favourite in the series. Grimm is definitely my favourite character. Sorry, not sorry, I always like the bad boys. But this was my favourite in the series. I just felt like it developed more of Isa's like character, or Isla, how do you say that? I don't know. Apologies. But yeah, so I just felt like it developed more of her character and kind of like made her like a real person rather than just like this like on it. I feel like in the first book and the third book she became like these gods almost. She was like very godlike, whereas in this one it kind of humbled her a wee bit and then made her a god again in the next one. So not that I'm complaining about her being a god, but I feel like she lets it go to her head where she thinks she's like, I know better and I can make all the plans and all the decisions for everyone. And I think she just needs to sit down. I think they all need to sit down. They all have that like, I'm number one, like I know everything. But they don't. They really don't. Again, this was 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. My favourite out of the series, definitely. 100%. This was... Next up, I read Skyshade. I finished that on the 22nd. Again, this might actually be my second favourite in the whole series. I really, really loved it. When I finished this though, I just had to sit and stare into space for like 20 minutes. Like, I could not believe the ending. Like, I am fuming at Alex Earster for that one. I was just in a state of shock, and it did take me a couple of days to like get back into reading after this, because I was just, it was so intense. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I couldn't put it down. I was just devouring the book, and then I got to the last page and I was like, I wanted to fight someone, honestly. I was like, no. So this was 5 stars. The ending is what pushes this one into second place for me over the first one. There's a lot more grim in it though, which I really like. See, now I'm debating my order, but I do think it is definitely Nightbane, Skyshade, and then Lightlark for me so far. There's another one coming out in there's another one coming out in September, so maybe we'll see what my ranking is after, what is it, Auto and Grimm. I'm very excited for that. It's already pre-ordered. So after I finished Skyshade, I did try to read Paddlin's Grace, which was for book club, and I had to DNF it. I did not enjoy it at all. At book club, it felt like everyone was telling me just to push through with it, but I've not picked it back up again, and I don't know if I will. I just, again, so it was about older characters, but I just felt like they were so, like, for lack of a better wording, I thought they were so boring. Like, they were not, to me, they weren't main character energy. They were just very much like, it's what it is, everything, ugh. Guess, like, I don't know, I just felt no connection with them. I felt very like disconnected with the story. I had no idea what's going on. I've since learned it was part of like a weird like universe where a lot of books overconnect and stuff like that. I don't have anything really bad to say about the book. I just wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't for me. Maybe because I just came off such a high from Alex Earster's books that I just needed something that was going to grip me again, or something in a completely different genre than what I just read. I don't know, maybe I'll come back to it in the future, but right now it is I'm not in the mood, babes. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's nothing personal against the book. We just wasn't feeling it. So that was a DNF this month, so that's a bit of a shame. After I DNF'd that, I did start King of Wrath by Anna Hang in preparation for the new book that came out on the 29th. This was my 4th time reading King of Wrath. I'm not going to go into a whole review. I think right now this is maybe not one of my favourites in the series. I think maybe I've just reread it too much. When it came out, I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with the book, but I think I read too many arranged marriage kind of scenarios where it's like, oh, we're being forced to be married and I don't like you at all. Oh wait, no, actually I think I'm in love with you. Like, it's, to me now it feels overdone, but I also know this was one of the first ones I read, so it still has like a very special space in my heart. I've just read too many now. But I still really love the King of Sin series, and I'm very excited to get King of Envy. As you can see, it's on my bookshelf behind me. I just haven't started it yet. But King of Wrath is still a 5-star for me. Still. Despite what I just said, King of Wrath is still 5 stars. I've not got my Kindle in here, but right now I'm reading King of Pride. I just started that yesterday, so I will be finishing that very soon. That's like the top of my TBR. Apart from finishing the King of Sin series, I do have like a long list of books that are on my TBR for this month, for the month of May. So I thought I'd go over a few of those. I'll go over the ones I have from the library right now because I have quite a lot from the library, and I think that's going to be my focus this month. I'm going to read the ones I have from the library. As you can see, my little library box is pretty full, and I have books waiting at the library to be picked up, so I do need to read these really quickly, but I'll pick a couple out of here to talk about. I'm going to try and read this one first, I think, because it's really short. It's like 120 pages. It's called Make Your Bed by William H. McRaven. I've seen a lot of people saying this really good life advice in it, and especially for those with like mental illnesses and depression. So I thought, why not? What's the harm, since it's such a short book? If I like it, I like it. If I get nothing from it, I get nothing from it. So that's one of the first ones I wanted to have a look at. And then I also want to try and read The Happiness Trap very soon. I know nothing about this, but I seen the little thing on it that said, like, this little quotation or whatever it is on it that says, "Stop struggling, start living." And I just thought, that is me. I want to stop struggling and I want to start living. So I reserved this one. I do love a good self-help book, and I love things that are more psychology based, so I'm really hoping this is psychology based. But if that is not psychology based, I have a good bet that this one will be. This is A Love That Kills by Anna Montez, and it's stories of forensic psychology and female violence, which in a twisted way I do actually love. True crime is really one of the things that got me into wanting to study psychology. I love just understanding what makes people tick. That's why I always get so curious about reading books like this. So I seen this in my library and I was like, I need to read it, and it's been sitting here for about a month now, so I really need to read it now before my library is like, what are you doing? Honestly, I kind of question why my library doesn't pull me up more often for how much I have books out, because this is like, it's a bit ridiculous, Rebecca. Honestly, this is a bit ridiculous. But that is some of the books on my TBR currently, all of these, but I won't show you all of them. So these are going to be my priority once I've read The King of Sin, and then I have book club books to read, and I have more library books waiting to get picked up. So I have a lot to be reading. I'm hoping to read maybe like 12 books this month, maybe more. Is that optimistic? So when I first left high school, I remember going to do this college course for a while, and I would finish a book a day there, no matter what. Like, I would finish a book a day. So I was like studying, I was volunteering, I was working, and I was still reading a book a day. So, and I don't know how I did it. I really don't. So when I'm sitting here going, I think I'll read like 12 books, compared to what I used to read, that's nothing. But it also feels like too much at the same time. And I'm like, where did like 16, 17-year-old me is like energy go. Like, am I just getting old and tired and I can't like read a book now? Like, it's honestly possibly just TikTok ruining my attention span now that I cannot sit and read the books the way I used to. I'm still really obsessive about the way I read, but I don't read as much as I once did. But I'm very proud of myself for doing 8 books this month, technically 9 if you count my DNF. Hopefully I do more in May, fingers crossed. Before I go though, please let me know in the comments what you read this month. I am so nosy and so curious. I love to hear about books, even if I disagree with your opinions. Like, if you've read Paddington's Grace and have a completely different opinion to me, please let me know in the comments, because people were trying to convince me to give it another go and I might be convinced if the argument is compelling enough. But that is it. I will be posting again next week. Until then though, if you want to see me, just click on my links down below to my social media accounts, or you can search me up on TikTok, Instagram and Threads. It's just Rebecca Bryson Books, and I will see you guys next week. Bye! I started off this month reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Elsie, put it the right way. Oh my god.